All right, hi guys. This is Shane here. So my wife posted a video of her unassisted birth. Um, I don't know where that leaves me because I was the one that caught the baby. But I'm going to backtrack a little bit and just kind of tell you my thoughts on the whole experience. So my wife wanted me to be the videographer. And so, of course, as soon as I touched the iPad, the lighting was terrible and we had no storage on our device, so I had to switch to my cell phone. And so it was supposed to be a hands-free operation where I could just help my wife with the birth, but then I found myself holding, my iPad or my cell phone to try and record. So I'm sitting there in the room just watching my wife scream during contractions, and then eventually I had to put it down and press stop. So the actual labor was not filmed, which it's probably better that way. But so I kind of failed at that. I was supposed to, like I said, catch everything on video, and I didn't. So then it came time to actually delivering the baby, and my wife was shouting, "Gloves! Put on gloves!" And so I'm over there, taking out my gloves right out of the package, so they're sterile, everything is good to go. And I'm in their size medium, which I think in the past is always fit, but I don't know if it's like a Guatemalan medium. And like here, I'm, in the States, I'm just kind of an average sized person, but here in Guatemala, I'm like kind of like a giant. So I'm trying to shove on these gloves, and it's like O.J. Simpson over here. I'm just like trying to jam my hands into these tiny little gloves, and I just can't do it. I'm just struggling. I'm trying not to let my wife know, but I'm like sweating. I'm like, man, if this baby comes, and I'm not ready because of gloves. You want to talk about O.J. Simpson? There would have been a homicide. My wife would have killed me if I would have not been prepared. So, anyways, I'm trying to jam my sweaty little hands into these tiny little midget gloves, and I finally got them in there, and it was just like, man, all the preparation I had done, which was not much, but all the studying up I had done to prepare myself to help deliver Cyrus, our son, I just was drawing a blank. So she's sitting there pushing, and I'm like, "Oh, do you need me?" And she's like, "I don't know." I'm like, "Do you need me to like help you in this area?" And I it was like communism. That's what I told my friend. It was like communism. It sounded great on paper. Oh yeah, it's going to be no problem. Everybody's going to share the wealth equally, and the baby's going to come out no problem, and I'm going to be prepared with my game plan. But when it came to execution, I was just stage fright or something. But luckily, my wife views these things, and so do I, as 90% of the time, if I could make up a percentage, 90% of the time, births aren't emergencies. They don't require, a lot of, medical expertise. Although my wife is thoroughly studied up on that. So anyways, luckily, there wasn't any sort of emergency. But, so she started screaming, and then finally I got my gloves on, and out comes the head, And in all of our previous births, I think I have like 6 or 7, 8 children now. In all of the previous ones, once the head started to crown and present itself, the body just kind of came out too. But that wasn't the case this time. It was like the head came out, and then, he just decided to take a break, like 10, 15 seconds, which felt like a really long time. And guys, I always remind myself before every birth, they're going to come out purple. They're going to come out looking like dinosaurs, covered in grape jelly. But I can never remember in the moment. So he came out, and I thought, he's dead. And he's not breathing, of course. I should say he didn't look like he was breathing, because, they're still getting all their oxygen through their umbilical cord. So, he sticks out his head, and his nose isn't really moving. His mouth isn't really moving. He's purple, so I'm like, he's dead. So then I kind of get it together, and luckily my wife's screaming kind of helped me snap out of it. And then with one giant push, she gets out the whole rest of the body, and he's not crying. So I start patting him on his back. But again, this is totally normal. The baby isn't expected to cry the exact second he breaches, or I shouldn't say breach, but the exact second he's born. But I just have this mentality that I know he's supposed to be crying. That's kind of proof that he's got oxygen going everywhere. So, but eventually, he starts crying and everything is okay. But, so then I'm just kind of in a daze. I can't believe that I just caught the baby. Really in spite of myself. I had very little to do with it. But, yeah, then it just kind of came time to clamp the cord. And I've done that multiple times, but couldn't remember a single thing in the moment. So I had to kind of get walked through that. But I cut the right cord, and yeah, it was good. Baby came out 9 pounds pretty much. Big old Guatemalan boy. And it was very emotional. I'm very grateful that everything went well. And yeah. Everybody else, it was a room full of, well, I shouldn't say full, but there was a few women there, and I was getting kind of emotional, but then I thought, I can't be the only one crying in the room. So I didn't cry. But if it was just my wife and I probably would have, because it was pretty special not having a doctor there and kind of being able to, convince myself that I really had a significant part in it, even though I really didn't. So, but yeah, it was a total blessing. I recommend hiring my wife or I for our services. We'll give you a great discount, especially in quetzales. They go a long way with the American dollar. So anyways, thank you for tuning in.